Good morning explorers, and welcome back to the channel. Today you find me in Eartham Woods, just continuing my walk from Bignor down to Chichester via the Roman Road, Stane Street. We're back where we left off the last video. Came down the old Roman Road through that gate there. And yeah, like I said, in Eartham Woods. If you haven't seen the last video, just pop back. I'll put a link in the description for you to view that one. Greeted by a really old beech tree here, just to start off with the scenery. So, got the fun squad with me today. She's just looking at all the names carved into the tree. So we sort of walked the wrong way here. This woods is sort of littered with these pathways in all directions. They're all straight lines, and started the walk at Eartham car parks, where we'll finish up this video, and came the wrong way. But if you haven't been to these woods before, they're very peaceful. You don't see many people, and we're just starting to catch the fall colours. So we're going to head off in that direction. So as we venture down this section of the road, as you can see, it's all but been engulfed by the woods. We're still walking on the agger, but you can't see the ditches either side, and the surface is yeah, you can't see the surface. It's been metallised, but not by the Romans, by probably the landowner or forestry commission, whoever sort of manages this woodland. So this woodland is a right mixture of trees. Over in this section we've got traditional hazel, we've got, I think that might be maple up there, beech, more hazelnut, and there are some oak trees in this area. Interestingly, when I was speaking to a colleague of mine, he did some work experience in this area for the Forestry Commission, and they were marking some trees out in the area, and one of the trees that he was told to mark was a giant oak tree. And after he'd done that marking, the person he was working with or working for said to him, "Did you notice anything strange about that tree?" And he didn't. It just felt normal to him. And it's only afterwards the guy he was working with told him that that supposedly was a haunted tree. Obviously not as haunted as he thought it was. So you can see how straight this road is. as it shoots off into the distance. And here we can start to see what we saw earlier, the highness of the road and the guttering either side. So yes, different sections show a little bit more, don't they? So when you look at the trees either side of the road, they're pretty tall, but I don't think they're as, well, they're not as old as the original beech tree that we came across. The reason being obviously the size of the trunks, but the history of this area is that it was heavily occupied during both World Wars, and the Canadian Forestry Commission were working within this area, so probably these trees have been growing since World War II or World War I, and probably planted, hence they're planted in a very sort of almost orderly formation. They don't look, doesn't look like nature's planted them, and they're all very straight trees. Apart from the odd one here, most of them seems to be coppiced, so they don't have any branches low down, just encouraging them to grow higher. So as we get to these crossroads here, as I was saying before, this woods I think is being used mainly for forestry purposes. So as you can see, all of these trees have been cut down and stacked at the side there, and hence the trees that we find in here are mainly very straight trees. We haven't seen any on this part of the woods, but in other sections there's a lot of these coniferous pine trees designed to grow very fast. As I was saying, the Canadian Forestry Brigade were in this area, definitely in World War I, where they were cutting down the trees to build the war effort. So in World War I, it was trench warfare, so they needed a lot of timber to reinforce the trenches, and also to construct things like aeroplanes, train cars, boxes. So wood was a big resource. So this is what they were doing in this area. There was also a sawmill located and a small railway track that went to and fro from the encampment. This area also was used as an outpost for the hot air balloons. So in World War I, they used hot air balloons to look for submarines. So the submarines of the day were combustion powered, and they needed to surface or run quite near to the surface so they could release their exhaust gases. They obviously could submerge for a period of time, but when they were motoring around, they were often near the surface and they could be spotted by the hot air balloons. There was a hot air balloon station at Polegate, and this was an outpost for the hot air balloons, and they were tethered up near Gumber Farm. So some of the other things this area is famous for is there have been 3 plane crashes in this area. So the first one, 4 plane crashes actually. The first one was a Whitby bomber, nicknamed the Coffin. It was notoriously cold and a horrible place to carry out missions, and that crashed into the hillside near here, and we are on sort of rising ground here, and I think these aeroplanes were flying out of some of the local airfields like Tangmere or Goodwood. The second one was a Bristol Viewfighter, which was again a sort of a lightweight bomber or night reconnaissance plane it was used for. Very fast plane for its age, twin engined, and the pilots complained they were getting exhaust fumes into the cabin, which the flight mechanics thought they'd addressed, but obviously didn't. It caused the pilots to pass out with loss of life to both of them. And the last one was a Lancaster bomber. So this had 8 crew on board, and again I think had problems with its engine and couldn't get enough altitude and basically flew into the side of the hill. Again, complete loss of life. The other one, there is in this area a memorial for a American DC-3 that crashed in here. Again, probably due to the height increase in land. But yes, quite a few plane crashes. There is a memorial for the DC-3 round here, and maybe in another video we'll come back to these woods and see if we can find that memorial. But today's video is about the Roman road, which, as you can see, doesn't look like a Roman road when you get to this section. It looks like a traditional fire road in any other forest or managed forest, and even the sort of drop-offs either side are not uncommon on sort of roads, because people need to sort of get across them. They don't want to be driving through puddles or getting vehicles stuck. So here we come upon a very pretty section of the woods. As I said, you can see from this perspective how this it doesn't look like a natural forest. Everything seems to be planted, and probably these trees are sort of 75 years old, maybe 100 years old. And again, if you didn't know there was a Roman road here, would you be able to see it? The agger has gone from this section. We're coming close to the end of the road, or end of this section of the road, where it crosses I think it's the A285. So right next to the road is this ancient yew tree. Sticks out like a sore thumb compared to the little babies around it. Almost looks like it's in the gutter of the road, and that somehow the farm track here has sort of slipped. I mean, it feels to me like I'm on the agger of the Roman road, and we've been walking in the gutter for a little bit. As I was saying before, we've got some giant redwoods or pines here. Again, really fast growing trees, so if you need them for making wood for a war resource, then these are a good choice of trees. Found this amazing mushroom by the side of the road. Comment down below if you know what type of mushroom this is. So we're virtually at the road now, and you can see standing on the footpath that we are right next to the old road, and you can see how much higher this road is rather than the traditional bit, but as you can see, sort of worn quite a long way down, so almost looks like an embankment rather than a Roman road. So if you're coming to these woods, a good activity to do with the children is just to collect some of these leaves. So Ray is planning to turn that into a wreath. We're filming this on Halloween, so sounds like a fun activity. So when we got to this area and walked up to the place where we started the video, we actually took this pathway here. And as you can see, again, dead straight pathway, looks like a Roman road, but that is the Roman road over there nestling in the trees. So not surprising that we took the wrong pathway. So this is where the Roman road is cut into by the A285. Where that pile of logs there is where the Roman road finishes, and handily there is a public footpath that starts here and then meanders through the wood atop the Roman road. And again, you can see the shape of the road and a very linear pathway. But this is where I'm going to end this section of the video, and I'll pick up the road in episode 3. So if you could subscribe to the channel, you can just hit down in the bottom right hand corner, hit my icon and hit subscribe. 90% of you are unsubscribed, and it would help me to make more videos if you were subscribed. Also, if you could just comment down below, even if it's just an emoji in the comment section. The algorithm for YouTube really likes a comment or something in the comment section, and it will help promote my video to a wider audience. Thanks again for watching.